Coconut oil can improve your health and well-being, as well as make you look younger. This healthy oil has numerous benefits such as easing digestion, improving sleep, boosting immunity, and glowing skin. But does this oil have any negative qualities? Can it harm you, or can it only make you healthier? I'll tell you in this video. Let's go. Increases good HDL cholesterol. Coconut oil is interesting for its ability to raise HDL cholesterol levels, often known as good cholesterol levels. This is due to its high content of medium-chain triglycerides, MCT, a type of saturated fat that is quickly converted into energy in the liver and can contribute to the production of HDL cholesterol in the blood. Lauric acid, a type of MCT, is an active compound studied for its ability to increase HDL cholesterol. Research published in Circulation 2012 found that lauric acid can raise HDL levels more effectively than other fatty acids, lowering the risk of heart disease. It is essential to strike a balance in your diet, including some coconut oil in moderation alongside a diverse and nutritious eating plan. Boosts brain function in Alzheimer's. Coconut oil contains medium-chain triglycerides, MCT, that are easily absorbed and converted into ketones. Ketones serve as an alternative energy source for the brain when glucose utilization is inefficient, which is common in Alzheimer's. By using ketones, brain cells may function better, potentially improving cognitive abilities in individuals with Alzheimer's. While not a cure, coconut oil could help manage symptoms in those with difficulties processing glucose, aiding in Alzheimer's treatment. A 2016 study in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease found that MCT can enhance cognitive function in individuals with mild Alzheimer's disease. Coconut oil contains other beneficial compounds such as antioxidants that can help support brain health by reducing oxidative stress, which is involved in the progression of Alzheimer's. It is important to note that moderation is key when incorporating coconut oil into your diet. It is advisable to consult with a healthcare provider before adding coconut oil to your or a loved one's diet, especially for managing conditions like Alzheimer's disease. Increases fat burning. Consuming coconut oil means taking in a high amount of medium-chain triglycerides, MCT. Unlike long-chain triglycerides, LCTT-MC go directly to your liver for fast energy utilization, potentially increasing calorie burning. A 2015 study in the Journal of Nutrition concluded that MCT can boost energy expenditure more than LCT. Additionally, compounds like polyphenols in coconut oil also contribute to its beneficial effects. While the direct impact of polyphenols on fat burning is uncertain, they are associated with better health outcomes. Polyphenols possess antioxidant properties that can support metabolic health when part of a balanced lifestyle, potentially aiding weight management indirectly. However, consuming large amounts of coconut oil will not lead to weight loss. It is essential to maintain balance and follow a healthy diet. Incorporating coconut oil in moderation as part of a nutritious diet is recommended. Appetite suppression. Coconut oil may reduce appetite due to its MCT, which are digested differently and quickly turned into energy in the liver. This process can boost metabolic rate, leading to a feeling of fullness. A 2009 study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that men who consumed more MCT at breakfast tended to eat fewer calories at lunch, indicating that MCT that in C could help curb appetite. MCT, such as capric acid and caprylic acid, are key compounds that suppress appetite. Lauric acid also contributes to this effect. These fatty acids regulate hunger hormones like peptide I and leptin, signaling fullness to the brain. It's important to consume coconut oil in moderation and as part of a balanced diet. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and click on the bell so as not to miss new informative videos. Improves digestion. Adding coconut oil to your diet can improve digestion due to its beneficial compounds, including MCT, vitamin Z and K, and minerals like iron. MCT are particularly noteworthy as they streamline digestion, requiring less effort from the pancreas. In addition to MCT, monoglycerides and fatty acids such as lauric acid also contribute to the benefits. They possess anti-microbial properties that combat harmful bacteria and support a healthy gut flora, crucial for optimal digestion. It is important to consume coconut oil in moderation to avoid digestive issues. Finding a balance is essential to harnessing the advantages of coconut oil without any adverse effects. Reduction of seizures. Consuming coconut oil allows your body to metabolize its fats into ketones, serving as an alternative energy source for brain cells. A ketogenic diet high in fats and low in carbohydrates is known to help reduce seizures in some epilepsy patients. This process is not solely about MCT, even though they play a significant role. A metabolic shift to using ketones instead of glucose can stabilize brain electrical activity. Research from 2014 in epilepsy research suggests that a diet rich in MCT increases ketone production and may reduce seizures in people with epilepsy. Compounds in coconut oil, such as polyphenols, have neuroprotective effects and work together to improve brain function and health. Although further investigation is required to fully understand the mechanisms, current research suggests that the combination of ketones and other beneficial compounds in coconut oil may assist in enhancing seizure management for certain individuals. Reduces belly fat. Incorporating coconut oil into your diet can help trim stubborn belly fat. Coconut oil contains medium-chain triglycerides, MCT triglycerides, MCT that are metabolized differently from other fats. MCT are quickly used as energy or converted into ketones in the liver. Ketones can reduce appetite, potentially aiding in calorie reduction and weight loss. Consuming coconut oil with its lower calorie content can help your body burn fat for energy, potentially aiding in losing belly fat. In addition to MCT, coconut oil contains bioactive compounds that may boost metabolism. Specifically, polyphenols in coconut oil can impact energy expenditure. However, it's important to consume it in moderation. While a small amount can be beneficial for your diet, excessive intake is not recommended. It's essential to complement this with an active lifestyle and a balanced diet. Immune system support. Coconut oil supports the immune system due to its anti-microbial properties. Lauric acid and capric acid, along with MCT found in coconut oil, help in this process. When lauric acid is consumed, it turns into a powerful microbial killing substance called monolaurin, which can combat bacteria, viruses, and fungi. This makes coconut oil a beneficial addition to your diet, helping to protect your immune system. Remember, moderation is key when incorporating coconut oil into your daily meals. Improves blood sugar control. Coconut oil can potentially help regulate blood sugar due to its high content of medium-chain fatty acids, MCFA. Unlike long-chain fatty acids found in other oils, MCFA are absorbed directly into the bloodstream and quickly converted into energy, which can aid in stabilizing blood sugar levels by reducing strain on the pancreas and improving insulin sensitivity. A 2021 study published in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics suggested that MCFA may help lower the spike in blood sugar after a meal by slowing down the digestive process, leading to a more consistent release of energy. Besides MCFA, coconut oil also contains phenolic compounds and insulin-like growth factors that can impact blood sugar regulation. It is important to consume coconut oil in moderation as it is calorie-dense. Next, we will discuss the recommended intake of coconut oil. The ideal amount is usually 1 to 2 tablespoons per day. Begin with a small amount, such as a teaspoon, to gauge your body's response before increasing gradually. You can consume it plain, add it to your coffee for a creamy texture, or include it in smoothies. Remember the importance of balance and consider consulting a healthcare professional to personalize your intake based on your health requirements. Now, let's discuss the possible side effects of consuming coconut oil. While it is generally safe in moderation, excessive consumption may lead to potential side effects that you should be aware of. Some possible side effects include digestive discomfort. Some people may experience digestive discomfort like diarrhea, stomach cramps, and other issues due to the high fat content in coconut oil. Increased cholesterol levels. While coconut oil may offer health benefits, it can also lead to higher total cholesterol and LDL levels for some people due to its saturated fat content. Caloric intake. Coconut oil is high in calories, providing about 120 calories per tablespoon, which may lead to weight gain if consumed in excess of one's daily calorie limit. Allergic reactions. Some people have a rare allergy to coconuts. Ingesting coconut oil could cause mild to severe allergic reactions in these individuals. Heart health concerns. Coconut oil's high saturated fat content has sparked debate regarding its effects on heart health. Some studies suggest that excessive consumption could contribute to heart disease. Impact on blood sugar. Although consuming large quantities of this food without a balanced diet can help control blood sugar in some individuals, it can also cause blood sugar levels to spike. Drug interactions. If you are taking medication, consult with a healthcare provider before using coconut oil, as it may interact with some medication. When adding coconut oil to your diet, begin with small amounts and monitor your body's reaction. Consult a healthcare provider or dietitian to confirm if it is suitable for your health profile. We hope you found this video informative and helpful. I recommend watch these videos and don't forget to subscribe to the channel